Welcome to Study Loop.
Let's discuss changes in the standard of living in terms of economic principles and how or why exactly these standard of livings have changed. Let's begin by discussing ways in which our standard of living is different from the standard of living that our grandparents have experienced, or at least what they experienced when they were our age. So there's a couple different things, and it really is, you can kind of use your imagination here. It's really a broad spectrum of things where we're just examining how times have changed. So one way in which our standard of living is different than theirs could be considered in modes of transportation. We experience lots of cars on the road with great technologies in them. We can listen to music, we can listen to Bluetooth, we have navigation built right into our cars, we have heated seats, we have moonroofs, sunroofs, right? We have electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, all these sorts of things. So our standard of living in forms of modes of transportation has definitely increased as compared to what our grandparents experienced when they were our age. Another one could be food and clothing. We can say that food and clothing have evolved over time. We have increased the quality of maybe both of these. Our food may be a little bit healthier due to higher regulations by the FDA. Our clothing may be made of better materials due to improvements in manufacturing processes. Another possibility is electronics. This is a pretty obvious one, right? We experience cell phones, laptops, iPads, even air conditioning is a good example of things that may not have been around during our grandparents' time when they were our age. And finally, we could consider infrastructure to be a big change that has occurred in the standard of living between our grandparents when they were our age and now. Infrastructure, we could include within this things like electricity or cable or telephone lines, right? These are things that grant us a lot of ease within daily life that we don't really think much about, but these were things that may not have been quite as prominent during our grandparents' time when they were our age. A good example would be like telephone wires. Telephone wires are oftentimes built or they're installed underground now. So we don't even think about them. But if you get into slightly older neighborhoods, you'll see all of these telephone wires actually hanging, right? You can see them. And so as simple as that is, it's a change in the standard of living because we don't necessarily have to look at these wires anymore, or at least in particular areas. So that would be a little bit of a different. And these are really a result of technological progress, right? If we break all of this down, it's because we have somehow improved in a number of technological areas. So technological progress, it's really obvious when we think of electronics, but when we think about food and clothing with the manufacturing improvements and infrastructure, again, that comes down to how it's implemented. Another option or another explanation for this could be the result of globalization, and that could kind of come down to food and clothing again. We have greater access to these things from other parts of the world. Same with electronics and modes of transportation. A lot of the vehicles that we drive were not produced within the United States. They were produced elsewhere, or at least they're not produced maybe within our domestic homeland, right? So I'm in the United States, but I drive a car that was made in Germany, or at least certain parts of it weren't from the United States. So we see these results, these changes in standards of living as a result of technological progress and globalization mainly.